What is up, everybody? It's good to see you again. How is everybody doing today? It has been one of those days, hasn't it? It's just been one of those days where it's like, what is going on? Because you can't see me. That's what I'm getting at. But now I'm just throwing that out there. Now you can see me. Anyways, it has definitely been one of those days to where what is going on, especially with Bitcoin. Like, what I know that's what's on everybody's mind is what is going on with Bitcoin, and we'll get to the technical analysis point to it eventually. Eventually, we'll get to the technical analysis point to it, but first I wanted to bring up some news, right? Some news that you guys may not know about. And sorry if I keep looking over here, right? It's because I look over here because that's where my computer screen is, and that's where I can see myself. But even though my actual camera is right here, I still like looking over here to make sure I don't look like a fool. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta choose one winner and one loser. But anyways, Ted here with Bodies and Wicks. What I usually do is I usually go over technical analysis of charts. That's what I have been doing. In my passion, I do love looking at charts and trying to see where price is gonna go next. And been studying this for quite some time. It has been almost a year now since I have been full-time doing basically technical analysis, and I have gotten better and better every day. Not to say that there's definitely some room for improvement, but I would like to point out that at one point I will start probably doing some kind of signal service. If you or somebody or know somebody that would like to join the signal service, I'll probably add that as part of my my Patreon. First I'll probably do is I'll allow 1-2 months, something like that, free. Do a signal service. The signal service will include I may do multiples, and that's the thing I'm still trying to figure out. I want to do definitely a crypto service. I want to do Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and these are going to be for people who are leverage traders. Now keep in mind, these aren't going to be people who are going to be wanting to add to their portfolios, right? These are people who are looking to make big cash, get in, get out kind of thing. That's what I look for. I also look for those for my portfolio too, but these are going to be primarily for things like that. So if that is something that interests you and you would be interested in, please leave a comment below. Let me know, or send me a message on Telegram, something like that. All my information is there, or shoot me a message on TradingView. The TradingView is open. Anybody can follow me on Tedzily on TradingView. You can even find me on Twitter. I'm Bodies and Wicks on Twitter. Same thing, Bodies X Wicks on Twitter. You can find me in multiple places. And if you think you want to just try to trade a service that I'm going to be putting out, again, I'm gonna do a couple months free, let you guys know that I am legit, hopefully. But then after that I will probably have to back it off, as that way people aren't completely 100% profiting off of me, and they're able to go toward more of the traditional route that will be included with my Patreon. And if I get kicked off of Patreon, then I'll go subscribe star, who cares? But that's something I do plan on doing in the near future. Probably, I want to say probably within the month, but for me to get if I really want to hone in on these skills, it'll probably be within the next 6 months or so. I would say definitely by summer, get ready for something like this. It's something I've been wanting to do, and I think I can finally do now. So I know you saw the headline, you saw that you're going to be taxed. Yes, you are going to be taxed coming up this tax season. How do I know? Well, let's head over to the news, shall we? And let's see what it says. So let me get this up in here. We're prepared, pulled up, and boom. So it says it can be super easy, or it can be insanely complicated. Need to report Bitcoin trades to the IRS? Read this first. So this came up on my market watch today, and I knew this was coming. I didn't realize it was going to be on the first page. I know that, well, I knew that, Robinhood and things like that sends you 1040s. I know my stash in the past has given me 1040. Acorns has given me 1040s, things like that. But Coinbase, I couldn't really find a 1040. I don't, and maybe just because I didn't. I definitely put enough money in for. I mean, I put a lot of money in Coinbase, that's for sure. I also put a lot of money in Cash App too. So they're primarily for transferring. That's what they're primarily for. And I would put money in Coinbase to transfer it to Gate, or put money in Cash App to transfer to Hugo's Away. That way, when I did Hugo's Away, I was trading, Forex and things like that. So it's interesting to gonna see how it's been. If you're like me, you're probably one of those same people. Especially if you're a Forex trader. The fastest way to get your money into a Forex account, especially if you use something like Hugo's Way, is to buy Bitcoin and then transfer Bitcoin into that account. So I'm wondering how this was all, and then I messaged you Hugo's Way, wondering how I could get a list of all because I didn't want to go through all my bank records and all that crap. And they told me, I was like, but I use a Mac, and they're like, oh, good news, Mac users can use Hugo's Way, or you can use MT4. Old Mac users used to be able to use Administrator 4. They can't now, or they haven't been able to, at least present or in recent months, I guess I could say, because I know I've tried to do it, but now they do actually have an MT4 that works. Whether it works with Hugo's Way or not, that's a different question. It's not working with my Hugo's Way. I tried putting in all the information that they told me to put in. It didn't work, so Hugo's Way is working with me, and they are going to get me the information that I need, because basically for somebody that's starting a business, you kind of need all the information up front to present to the IRS. That way you can say, hey, I tried starting a business. Here's how much money I put into this business. Here's how much money I made from the business. And also, here are the expenses for the business, right? Because I have a lot of expenses from this business. I bought a new computer for this business. I bought a webcam for this business. I bought headphones. I bought all different kinds of things, to start this business. I could have just got a crappy old, Windows computer if I wanted to, but I'm not that type of person. I like to go all out. As you can see, this is a standalone operation here, right? This outline that you see on my computer screen, or on your computer screen, that is 100% me. I did that. I took the time, and I learned Photoshop, and I learned how to do that. These are the kind of things that take time, they take effort, and you eventually want your money's worth out of it. So, but let's see what this article says here. Treasury Department, Janet Yellen. We all love Janet Yellen, don't we? Don't we all gotta love the old dead regulator from back in the Obama days? Oh man, is she not big on Bitcoin, as the article says. Sorry, I'm looking this way because that's where the screen is I'm reading from. A point she reiterated recently when she called the digital currency speculative and inefficient. Inefficient is Janet Yellen taking a dump, is what inefficient is. What are you talking about? Bitcoin is inefficient. Okay, I just explained that the reason I use Bitcoin primarily is to transfer funds that go directly toward my trading accounts. It happens in about 15-20 minutes. What's more efficient? If I use my debit card, it's gonna take about 2 to 3 days, like it does with freaking Robinhood, or if you use any other kind of TD Ameritrade or whatever it is. once you put that money in there, you know, it takes a while for it to reach there. And she's trying to say that the digital currency speculative is inefficient. This lady is off her rocker. This lady is just completely nuts. But don't worry, people. If you ask Jen Psaki about her, she'll remind you that she is female, one of the first female Secretary of Treasury. So we have that to thank. Now, I don't really care if you're a man or a woman. If for the Treasury Secretary, I really don't care what race you are. You can be the most Asianist, you know, transsexual, whatever the politically correct word is. For all I care, as long as you know how to balance a balance sheet and you can practically save the United States from falling under, you're gonna get my vote. All right, that's all there is to it. But here we go. I'm sorry for that tangent. That doesn't mean Yellen and the department she leads, which includes the IRS, doesn't care about cryptocurrency. Now that it's income tax filing season, people are holding Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. We'll see the IRS is actually very curious about taxpayers' cryptocurrency transactions. So much that it has tweaked the first page of Form 1040, the main piece of income tax paperwork. Taxpayers file yearly to ask taxpayers if they've received, sold, sent, exchanged, or otherwise acquired any financial interest in virtual currency. A yes can mean more in taxes, but not necessarily, tax experts told Parker Watch. Cryptocurrencies keep achieving a progressive higher profile. Last week, Bitcoin hit an aggregate above 1 trillion. As more people eye cryptocurrencies, more people have to face up to the tax rules at play. It can be super easy, or it can be insanely complicated, said Matt Metris of Indian Financial Services in Rochester, New York. Some transactions can spur multiple tax events at once, but tax professionals have scant IRS guidance to work off of. Of course, they haven't written the tax rules yet. It's brand new. So I guess maybe this question, maybe this is just a questionnaire that they're going to be trying to feel out to see who, you know, who's buying crypto and who's not. They're going to see a lot of yeses, and then they're going to start taxing it. That's as easy as the answer is. The basics on how the IRS views cryptocurrencies. IRS treats cryptocurrencies as property. It's helpful to remember that tax rules that also apply as stocks. If value goes up, owner sells at a profit, they're likely to pay capital gains tax. That makes sense. If a sale at a profit occurs within a year of purchase, the proceeds count as short-term capital gain that is taxed as ordinary income, which means it is lumped with other things like wages and taxed at a marginal rate corresponding to the bracket the taxpayer falls into. This sale happens at least 1 year after the acquisition. That's a long-term capital gain. A single filer making under 40,400, married couple under making 8,800 won't get a 0% rate. Pretty much everyone else gets a 15% rate, with the rate applying to incomes up to 445,850 for individuals and 501,600 for married couples filing jointly. There's still a lower rate than 5 or 7 income tax brackets. By the way, I would just like to point out that I am single, and well, never mind. I guess it's single, get under a 0% tax rate if you're a long run. Okay, so never mind. I was gonna say I'm single, so this is going to be discriminatory against me. Never mind. If I'm making under, but I don't make under, I'm not gonna say how much I make. Anyways, get a 0%. Anyways, let's keep going. That's still a lower rate than 5 of the 7. It's still a lower rate than 5 of the 7 income tax brackets. But cryptocurrency is volatile stuff. For example, shortly after Bitcoin's market value hit 1 trillion mark, it was the cusp of entering the bear market. That's speculative. So it's important to remember tax treatment for losses, said Ben Weiss, chief operating officer of co-founder of CoinFlip, which has Bitcoin ATMs. in 1,800 locations, allowing people to buy and sell cryptocurrency. By the way, if you ever see one of those cryptocurrency things where you can buy these ATMs, don't do it ever. Just don't. These ATM locations literally charge you about 5,000 more. Well, I wouldn't say 5,000 more. The price of Bitcoin is about $5,000 more than what a regular lib would be. I think I checked it one time a couple weeks ago when Bitcoin is somewhere around like 42, 43, and it said it was around $48,000. I was like, are you kidding me? It's like, people have, I mean, this is basically for people who don't have access to smartphones who want to buy crypto. I don't know who those people are. Do any of those people exist? That's just something I don't know about this Ben Weiss guy. I don't know. If the value goes down, the investor sells at a loss. They get a capital loss deduction. When yearly annual losses exceed annual yearly gains, the taxpayer gets to also deduct over $3,000 a year. Excess losses beyond that can be carried forward for future tax year. What if I get paid in cryptocurrency? When you get paid for services via Bitcoin, Ether, or any other cryptocurrency, counts as ordinary income. It doesn't matter what the medium of payment is. It comes to question whether the I can't say that word. Remuneration constitutes wages employment tax. The IRS said cryptocurrency that an independent contractor receives for work counts as self-employment income, and IRS noted in both cases the value of cryptocurrency is measured by its US dollar value on the date of receipt. Okay, so how do I respond to the IRS question? Near the top of the 1040, the IRS wants a yes or no answer to this question. At any time during the 2020, did you receive, sell, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in the virtual currency? Remember, yes doesn't necessarily mean more taxes. Okay, so that's a good thing. For example, someone just buys and holds crypto, there's no tax event because there's no inserting sale or profit or loss. Yes answer and not have to report the purchase and the return, he added. Laura Walter, owner of Crypto Tax Girl near Salt Lake City, says you need to say yes if you, for example, sold cryptocurrency, traded it on goods and services, received as compensation, or received an airdrop or fork. A hard fork can happen when digital coin splits, and an airdrop is a way for a company to hype a coin with giveaway an airdrop into a ledger or address. So basically a fork can count as income. Parsing language on 1040 instructions, Walter said you can check no if you merely held the crypto asset or transferred it among your own digital wallets. Interesting. But you bought it, so come on, your own digital wallets. And also, if you bought it but did nothing else, you don't have to report anywhere how much you're holding or where. All you report is you have a taxable event, she said. Interesting. So you can basically purchase crypto and just say that you can check no if you merely held the crypto asset or transferred it among your. Okay, mine's no, because that's all, I mean, really all I've been doing. I've been buying crypto, transferring it to wallets, buying other crypto of it, and just holding it. I haven't really taken any kind of profit from crypto yet. So, okay, interesting. Mentors, however, thinks a person should answer yes if they merely bought cryptocurrency. And there's the Debbie Downer. Of course, they always throw the Debbie Downer in there and make it all crappy. There's mixed messages coming out of the IRS, which we checking the box, Metro said. I think the IRS and the Treasury aren't the ones with the data they're trying to get at. What data they're trying to get out of the question. I think the potential repercussions of checking yes unnecessarily are much lower than not checking yes. When the IRS decided you should have. Where do I get? Yeah, honestly, if you purchase cryptocurrency, better to be honest with the IRS, even though I hate taxes, and I hate taxes probably as much as the next person. It's best to just not lie to the government. Where I get necessary tax records, brokerage firms will automatically generate the necessary tax paperwork, but it's not necessarily in the case of cryptocurrency exchanges. The task tallying up gains and losses can fall on a cryptocurrency holder, Walter said. The biggest advice to taxpayers is to keep track of all your records. Tax software can track transactions. People who have been not keeping close tabs through the year, basically everyone I work with, Walter said, can go back and gather up transactions and information, their wallets and exchanges they've used. That takes time. For the first timers to get into crypto in 2020 are sorting their buys and sells. Walter has bills of advice, has a bit of advice alongside an appointment of taxpayer. Just file for an extension. You can just do this overnight. Exchanges like Gemini, Coinbase, Kraken all have to maintain transaction records for 5 years. Weiss said, "Don't be afraid. Contact them if there are questions. Better to talk to customer support and be embarrassed you don't know about password than not have those records at all." Audit risk. They could be getting more serious. IRS officials could soon be shifting from education to compliance and enforcement, according to Metro. Still, he added later, we don't know exactly what the enforcement phase is going to look like. Giving a virtual currency question such prominent play on the 1040 is a good indicator that IRS officials are keeping their eye on crypto assets, Walter added. Others agree that IRS is getting more serious. Regulators are poised to commence a flurry of enforcement actions related to virtual currency tax fraud. Attorneys at Baker Hostetler, a national law firm, wrote in summer 2019, IRS sent out more than 10,000 letters to virtual currency holders who may have failed to report all income tax obligations. The education letter was part of the IRS's expanding focus on cryptocurrency. IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig said at the time, the IRS is likely didn't have its insight on taxpayers with smaller holdings. Market Watch tax columnist Bill Bischoff said around the time, the agency is more interested in tracking down individuals and businesses that engage in significant virtual currency transactions while failing to comply with tax rules. The little tax time, common sense can go a long way. If you sell $50,000 of Bitcoin and wire transfer shows that amount, they're going to sell it. They're going to see it. Weiss said, you're basically rolling a dice if you put $50,000 in the bank and not reporting it. Basically, I know a lot of people have made a lot of money off Bitcoin this year. I mean, that's just a given. If you people have been in this game for quite some time, know that they are probably in the hot bucket seat for this kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens, but just to let you know that kind of stuff is coming. So just to let you know, right? So also what I wanted to check in on was this other article I found was is Bitcoin at a tipping point between mainstream boom and speculative implosion? City says one is more likely. Which one do you think is more likely? The tipping point between mainstream boom or a speculative implosion? I'm gonna go with the mainstream boom. I don't see a speculative implosion happening at all. Just because it has a couple day pullback doesn't mean it's gonna have some kind of implosion. I mean, it mentions all the different companies that are involved in Bitcoin. Like Tesla, PayPal, Visa, MasterCard. Forgetting to mention some of the bigger ones like MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy. You got Riot. You got Marathon. You got other things like that. It's just it just tackles the bigger ones. So basically this article just states that more than likely we are going to see a bigger interest in the crypto world as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Now the interesting part about this is that we are at a 18 million circulating supply, 18.6 million circulating supply of Bitcoin. There are only 21 million Bitcoin out there, which means that we are only at about 2.5 million Bitcoin left to be mined. This has got to be questionable, right? There's still some left to be mined. once that mining is over with, then it's the price game is going to get interesting. That's for sure. I mean, considering we're at 50,000 right now, is staggering to me, to be honest. You know, just a couple months ago, last year, I should say, probably around this time, it was at about 5,000, right? And it has grown 10x since last year. If I had, you know, $10,000 and I put it in Bitcoin when it was at $5,000, I'd have 100. What was it? Actually, yeah, you probably have $1 million. I don't know the math. I used to be good at math. I'm not anymore. But actually, let's go back to the market watch and let's check out some of the top ones. Of course, you got Bitcoin up top, Ethereum, Cardano still holding third above Binance, beating it out again. I don't know really why Tether's in here. I guess it did drop a little to 99 cents, 99.7 cents. Okay. But, you know, Tether just basically, you know, kind of mimics the circulating supply of the dollar. Maybe you didn't expect the dollar to go up today. I'm not for sure. Then we got Polkadot doing pretty good. XRP doing well as well. Litecoin, and then Chainlink coming in at number 9. I think that came up recently. I don't think Chainlink was in the top 10 recently, if I'm not mistaken. But then you got Stellar again. I still not behind Stellar. Don't really understand it, but whatever, is what it is. The ones I am paying attention to, though, I'll keep paying attention to these, right, is going to be Ravencoin, if it would actually type for me. Ravencoin came up 30% today, right, to 17 cents, almost 18 cents. I think it was at 12 cents earlier today. 13 cents earlier today. So actually, if we go to Gate, which is where I trade on, and I really love Gate. It is phenomenal. It uses the Trading View system basically, which is weird because I don't know which because in Trading View, you know, you has the different the brokers and whatnot that it uses to get these prices. It doesn't have Gate as one of those brokers, so I don't know where Gate is getting these prices from, especially some of these it doesn't even have on here, like Whiteheart. Like, it doesn't have Whiteheart in Trading View, so that's where I get confused sometimes. And screw it, I may just go over here and go over to Ravencoin here. So Ravencoin, I'm one of those people that's technical trader, I'm just going to dive right into the technical trading aspect of this. As you can see, it did get to a double low here almost, right? And the reason it got to a double low, you can see it pulled up, pulled back down, and then made a huge run up. And what it did is it came in and kind of filled in that gap to where it made that big run up. That's generally where you see price whenever it falls. It falls always in between these kinds of big run gaps, right? So that is what happened here whenever it came to Ravencoin. Is it going to get any lower? I honestly don't think so. Just because whenever I first bought into it, of course, I found this early. I'm thankful I found it early, and I looked into it early enough to I got it around, 4 or 5 cents, something like that. And I said, and I think I pointed this out in the 4-hour, whenever it was way up there, that this candle right here, this red candle, a little bit here, this red candle right here, this is the one I was watching. And I said once it got around to that candle, I said that's when I would be jumping in again. And it did. It jumped in, or I got around it jumped in around 14. I want to say, of course, it was in the middle of the night. So I didn't jump in again until, I want to say, I let it go back down a little bit. I jumped in again around 15, something like that. And it was just right around the weekend. It was probably around Friday or so. I jumped in. Should have let it go a little bit further down, but hey, it is what it is. I'm back up again. So again, Raven coin, another one of those. And see, as you can see, I talk about how when it jumps up really quick, that's what you gotta watch, because it can pull back into those areas, right? So that's what I'm watching here, right? I am watching to this line right here, right? Double check on that. Let me double check on this coordinates here. Yeah, that low doesn't hit it. So what I am actually waiting on, especially if you're a leveraged trader, I will wait for it to see if it's going to enter this, right? Enter this area here, which again is around 15 cents, 772, and wait around. I wouldn't say wait around a whole lot, but wait around a little bit. Wait around to see how far deep it gets into it. Wait to see if it gets 20, 30, 40, 50% deep into this gap here. If it gets around 50%, pull the trigger. That's what I have found to be most successful out of all these. Even though this one didn't really have that gap that I'm talking about, because you can see this one did this. It all depends on what kind of timeline that you are looking at, right? So I grab this and pull this up here, right? Again, kind of touches the bottom of this. Again, no good real timeline on that one either. Go to 15-minute here. So that one, cross touch this one. So here it is. This is that gap I'm talking about. Double check this, and these coordinates the same, so they're equal. What it did is it came down and it touched. Basically, see how you have this gap that just kind of jumped up here really quickly, and then it pulled back and then took off. It came back down and touched the top of that gap, right? That's what Raven coin did before it started moving back up again. And you really don't have another one of those. I mean, you kind of do here. In between, in around 10 cents or so, around 10.007 to about 10.0364. But then again, this is also pulled back into that gap, and that's the reason why it's kind of pushed up. The rest of it's been kind of sideways. And so that's why I really don't think Raven coin's gonna have too much of a time trying to get back down into that 4 or 5 cent area that it was before. Definitely possible, but I don't think it's going to. So again, if you are one of those leverage traders, which I am waiting for it to come back down into this area again around 15.772. To see what's going to happen with that. Now, off of Raven coin, let's get to Bitcoin. Um, it's funny, I actually drew this yesterday, and it kind of did almost exactly what I thought it was going to do. Kind of pulled up, made about, well, it didn't really made about an equal high. It made about an equal, got a little bit higher than this equal high, than this high right here, right? And it slowly pulled back down, came back up. I thought once it got to here, and it did, it got to that point right there. You see that one? This little guy right here. Let me draw a little something around it so you can kind of see. Take this off of here. That red candle right there. I'll just do a quick little line across of it really quickly. So that red candle was what I was looking at, right? Because it was going to be about as equal as these other two, right, that are engineering this liquidity, right? So it gets up to it, people sell, right? They think, oh, it's going to be the one that's going to sell, it's going to drop back again, and it does for a quick second, and then what does it do? Boom, goes back up above it. And then what I say it was going to do, probably come back down below it. That's why I have this, it drops back down, right? And then it's just this typical MO, right? As soon as it gets to an area to where it, shouldn't, or people would probably sell, it would sell. It should be almost more like looking like this is what it should look like. It pretty much is what I was getting at. Boom, goes above it, pulls back, and then goes back up above it, right? Because then you got all the people that have the buy stops sitting up above here, takes those people out, pulls back down. So it takes everybody that has a buy stop out, right, and then continues to run after that. So people selling short here get taken out by their stop loss, and then the buy stop people, they get theirs triggered, they get taken out by their stop loss, and then it just continues on. So again, every time I always say, anytime you see equal highs, somewhat equal highs that look like that, that's what you need to be looking for. You need to be looking for things like that, right? So let me see where I'm at. Okay, got about 20 minutes left in this. So where's Bitcoin going now is the question. All right, so we have made it above those equal highs. Let me get rid of this really weird drawing that I made. I take a drink so I don't sound like frog. And one of the things I do want to point out though is that even though it was on this downward slope, right, I want to point out in the 1 hour chart, what you got to look for in these kind of instances, especially, I don't like using indicators, but I do like using them for this instance, right? Because here what you have is, basically bullish divergence. You see it come all the way down. You see this actually being one of the lowest points in that divergence, and you see it come down. As you can see, the RSI is saying, hey, the strength is actually, it's gaining momentum. Same thing over here with the MACD. As soon as it came down, of course, boom, hit a low, boom, hit the lowest low, right? It came back up, right? Next thing you know, it has another low. But even though the actual price of the low, this swing, right, of the MACD line, the signal line, that's what I'm thinking of, that's what it is, MACD line and the signal line, neither one get lower than this previous low. So this just shows you this is where all the momentum was going, right? Momentum is going here, and it went all the way down, and now we're starting to see it starting to slide back up. So these are both good things. The RSIs both above 50 right now. which are good indicators as well. So we're starting to see the Bitcoin take on more of a bullish approach, even though it did get down to the lowest place that we've seen it get in a long time. We saw it get down to about well, I guess I would say a couple days ago anyway, sorry, on Sunday or yesterday afternoon, it did get down to about 43. And the thing is that it still can get lower. I'm not gonna discount this out. I'm not gonna discount this area here out as to where it possibly could go. Now, is it gonna follow this trend line? No, it's not gonna follow this trend line. If anything, what it's gonna do, once it got near the trend line, it would go directly through the trend line and then screw everybody, because everybody's gonna be trying to trade off this trend line. So it would just dip right through it, take everybody out, and then continue up. It would be a very, very quick strike is what would happen. But I don't see that happening. I really don't. Instead, I see Bitcoin trying to find the next possible area to liquidate, or people trying to short the market to liquidate them, I guess is what I should be trying to say. So that next area would be this high, right? So if we were to take this high right here, right, draw it across. I'm gonna draw it across for quite a few hours, because who knows how long it's gonna take to get there. And also, these coordinates are correct. Right. Yeah, it looks like it's showing, but just like nobody's watching, so I'll just gonna say, hey everybody, you that is watching, which is not many of you, but anyway, now that we are on this this upward bullish trend, what are we looking for next? Or at least what am I looking for next? What I'm looking for next is I'm looking for the next spot that's probably going to knock it down, right? And then I look for this next spot that's going to knock it up. And then I do the same thing over and over and over again. This pulled up to right here, right before I got knocked down, which makes absolute sense, right? Why does it make absolute sense? Because that was the last up candle before that most recent high, right? So that would make sense as to why that would hit that candle and then get pushed down. So this is the candle that had all the momentum, right? What most people in the smart money world would call a bearish order block, right? All of this would be the bearish order block, but this most recent candle would be I guess the definite bearish order block. What I do want to do is an experiment, not really an experiment, but I do want to see if that is the middle of the volume of that. Just a little bit below the middle, it does actually come and almost touch the middle of that. Look at that. Extremely, so I'm getting like really close up in your guys' face here right now. Extremely close to that middle area of that bearish order block volume. Let's see here, the high of that was 50, I mean right on the dot, 50,250, and that was only about $30 away from that median of that bearish order block. So since all three of these candles are green, you would consider that basically one big block, right? Even in right in the middle of it, right smack dab in the middle of it, it almost touched it, and then turned around and rejected it. So to me, this is a good sign. I take this as a good sign. It come up inside of this last bearish order block as well, and then it started to reject. So this is not bad news by any means. This is very, very good news. If anything, what is going to be happening is that it's probably going to short sell for a little bit. And if we were to take this, pull this all the way down to the bottom, take this, put this all the way to the top, we would probably get somewhere around 80%. And we do. Right at 80, almost right at 80%. This is where your biggest reaction is going to be for people, for short sellers who didn't get in the initial first short sell run. Now, that being said, what is likely to happen is I don't think it'll come all the way back down to this area. What I think is probably most likely to happen is that we will see a drop, right? We are going to see another drop, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we think it is. I think what we're going to see is something probably along the measures of this. And it reject off of this, right? Reason I say that is because even though this had this spike down, right? We had this, it came up to above it, then it finally came down, broke that liquidity, rocked back up, and look, you're sitting on top of that liquidity now, right? Also, it's also coming right in, also in this bearish order block. Even though there is a green candle in here, if you're looking at this at almost a 4-hour angle, or however angle you want to look at it, you see it come up and then boom, it breaks down right here. This red candle sets the tone, right? So I would say this red candle right here sets the tone all the way down to the bottom. And then what we get about 20% inside of that bearish order block, and I think we're gonna start turning around and going the other way. Yeah, I know it's kind of a long way, especially when you're talking about something that's at 49,000 right now, and I'm talking about a price that's about 44,000, 45,000, somewhere around there. We're gonna be seeing this for a while. And it's just because of the price action of where it's at. The institutions want to get in on this game, right? Institutions definitely want to get in on this game, and the reason they want to get in on this game is because they, you know, whatever his name is, the dude from MicroStrategy went around and told everybody, hey, we need to get into Bitcoin. Hey, you know, you guys need to get into Bitcoin. So there's been some kind of concerted effort to try to pull the Bitcoin prices lower, right? Because people don't want to pay outrageous amounts for Bitcoin before it skyrockets up to, you know, $75,000. Is it going to hit 100K this year? A lot of people, I mean, it's already hit 50K. We're in month 2. You know, there's been some people that have speculated and said no, it's definitely not going to hit 100K. I don't know if it's gonna hit 100K at this year. I think we had a really, really crazy beginning of the year, and I think right now we're gonna see some pullback action for not really quite some time, but we're gonna see it fluctuate a lot in between this $40,000 and $50,000 mark. You can probably get up to about 60. It could fluctuate back down. It's gonna be like just any, you know, if you're like me and you've looked at, you know, the stock indices forever, this is what they do too. You know, nothing grows forever. Anything that tells you that it is going to grow forever is lying to you or trying to sell you something, right? So don't believe those people. Those people actually have no idea what they're talking about, right? So and let me get rid of this here really quick, and let's say Okay, let's say this is the top right now, right? This is the bottom. Um, I do love using my fibs because fibs will give you a lot of information. This way again, the where to pull back. Again, my favorite spot to where it would hit would be that 70.5%. That also goes in line with this line that I drew that went across, right? Because it did hit that low, right? Came, almost touched it, came, almost touched it again before it finally, you know, pushed through it and got lower. Came up, sat on top of it again before it finally, like you had this down push and then you had the boom, the takeoff after that, right? Then came back in, moved up. So again, if it was going to come back down, I'm going to guess seriously somewhere around 45.5. That is going to be my 100% honest to God guess as to where if it gets that low, pull the trigger. I am not financial advisor. Do not take anything I say as financial advice. I am not a stockbroker. I am just somebody who is on the internet who likes to talk about Bitcoin. All right. That's pretty much all I am. And give me 1 second. Oh no, never mind. Unfortunately, I hate having to do this on screen, but whenever you talk too long, you have to smoke. So don't smoke; it's bad for your health. But all right, so now that we have talked about Bitcoin, let's head on over to Ethereum. I got about 8 more minutes left. And then I'll get out of your hair, okay? So what's happened with Ethereum lately? Ethereum dropped back down to 13,000. What did it do? It hit a very, very bullish order block. Now, I've had this same fib drawn for quite some time. If anybody has seen my charts, you do know that this has been my fib because of the same reason that I had for Bitcoin, because it went sideways for quite some time, and then on its very last low, boom, it took off and it didn't come back. So usually whenever I see that low, it doesn't come back, I usually put that as my fib. What does it do? It comes down and hits the order block of that fib at the very low point. And now again, same thing, it is taking off. That was probably about the same time Bitcoin did its thing yesterday. It was. All right. Good. This is good. This is all good news, you guys. And I'm on the 15-minute chart. I do want to switch to the hour. And as you can see, same thing happened. You know, you had the big, huge boom, pull down. You had all the momentum going downwards. If you look at this right here, even though it was kind of equal, you could still kind of see the momentum, especially in the 29. 29 may have dragged it down a little bit more, but the 14 definitely pulling it up. Same thing here. Had a big pull down, came back up, and even though the price went lower, the momentum is actually gaining. Even though these may be about equal lows, this did come a little bit lower. I still think that Ethereum is going to be looking toward higher highs. I don't have equal highs to compare it to, unfortunately. But I do know it is wanting to get higher. So what has it done recently? I got a couple of minutes left. All right, so it looks like it has hit this bearish order block down here, right? So hits this. What is it gonna do? Right, I am going to draw another small fib on this one, here to here. I like this gap in here, right? And where is it sitting? Right at the top. There is basically an order block, right, that presses down before it goes back up, sitting right at that 70.5% mark. You guys don't see it, I definitely do. I'm gonna be highlighting that bold. That's where I would be looking. If it was to retrace, I would set my, I'm personally going to set my buy limit to right there at 1384, 1385, maybe 1390, just to make sure I get in the trade, and then watch it. Hopefully it takes off from there. But also, up until watching that, I'm going to be watching the RSI and also watching the MACD. Make sure nothing crazy happens. Also, short-term money. Change this to inputs off others. And this will basically, what this does, this incorporates interest rates. Right, so as you can see, it's trying to get into sell mode. Both of these, this one crossing into the red, this one's saying red sell. Okay, good. Now also watching it, if it gets down to right around here, and these are both if this is crossing up into the green, I see this thing turn green. Guess what? I am going to be in buyer mode at that point for Ethereum. So I think these things are, you know, again,